Mateina, your podcast that is all about the beautiful green leaves, Ilex paraguayensis, from mainly Argentina, Paraguay, and Brazil. This is your show that is all about yerba mate, and I'm your host, Thomas, or you can just call me Thomas, whatever you prefer, as long as you stick around with me for the next roughly 25 to 30 minutes. In today's episode that I affectionately call the ultimate yerba mate guide. Yes, from beginner-friendly yerbas to strong favorites for experienced drinkers, we're going to explore the best mate brands for every level of drinker, with focus on beginners, and then everything you need to know about how to clean your bombillas, because that's something that is often forgot but is very, very important, because a dirty bombilla is a clogged bombilla and it also taints the beautiful flavor of the green leaves. And with that, I would like to start right into today's episode with the question, why yerba mate is worth trying. So from a beginner's perspective, why should you try it? Have you ever been curious about yerba mate? Maybe you've seen it, but you've never tried. You just don't know how to start. Maybe you've seen soccer players carrying around those strange cups and thermoses. Maybe you've heard people compare mate to coffee or green tea. Or maybe you've tried it once and you thought, wow, this is a little bit bitter, and then you never touched it again. But the truth is, yerba mate is one of the most interesting drinks in the world, and not just because of the flavor or the caffeine, but also because of the experience around it. You understand the leaves, you understand the rhythm. It makes more sense why so many people become obsessed with it. So today, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about yerba mate brands, which brands are best for beginners, intermediates, and full-on mate aficionados. We'll talk about flavor, quality, history, and what makes certain yerbas special. And if you hear me talk about yerba and sometimes tea, this is because yerba is technically not tea. For the sake of this episode, we're going to sometimes refer to it as yerba and sometimes we'll refer to it as tea. But that's one and the same thing. Yerba or yerba is the green leaves. And that's the first part of the show. And in the second part, we're going to talk about something every mate drinker eventually has to learn: how to properly clean your bombilla. What is a bombilla? A bombilla or bombilla is a little thing that looks like a straw and has a filter on the bottom of it. Sort of looks like a spoon with holes in it that you put in your mate or in your calabash or your gourd, and through that filter you drink the yerba. And cleaning a bombilla is a very, very vital part of the mate ritual, because you want to have a clean bombilla to have a clean taste. Before we start, let's answer the big question. Why should someone who has never tried yerba mate even care about it? Well, for the first reason, the obvious one, is energy. Mate contains caffeine, but the caffeine is very different from coffee. Coffee often hits fast and hard. You get a sharp burst of stimulation, but for a lot of people then the jitters come, the anxiety, maybe even stomach irritation, acid reflux, or the classic afternoon crash. Yerba mate, however, feels different, because the energy is usually smoother. It's more gradual. It feels as it is more of a focused, calm, and sustained one. You feel awake, but you do not feel overstimulated. Productive, but not frantic. And part of that comes from the fact that mate contains not only caffeine, but also compounds like theobromine, which is also found in chocolates. And that combination creates a different type of stimulation compared to coffee alone. Another reason why people love mate is the ritual. Coffee in today's world is often consumed quickly. You go to your coffee store in the corner, get it, take it to go, drink it in your car, run to wherever you have to go. However, mate is slower. You prepare the gourd, you arrange the leaves, you shake it, you get the dust on top, you pour the water carefully, and then you refill it again and again over the course of an hour or more. Yes, you can drink mate just like you drink coffee. You get in your car, take it to go, and sip it wherever you want to. But it's nice to be in a ronda with people where you share mate, where you have good conversations. And the social aspect in combination with the health benefits is what makes mate very special. Because yerba mate contains antioxidants, polyphenols, vitamins, and minerals. In fact, some studies suggest that mate has antioxidant levels comparable to or even higher than green tea. Now, obviously, no drink is magic, right? But compared to highly processed energy drinks loaded with sugar or artificial ingredients, mate feels more natural and balanced. And there is also something else. When people first start drinking mate, they often think they're just trying a new caffeine source. But over time, many realize they're entering an entire culture because mate is connected to friendship, conversation, travel, work, sports, particular soccer, nature, daily life itself in countries like Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, southern Brazil, and anywhere else in the world is what it connects you to. It grounds you. And once you start to understand that, the drink becomes more meaningful. So with that in mind, let's jump right into the yerbas for beginners, intermediate drinkers, and aficionados. That is a topic that is often overlooked, especially when you're a beginner, because you go online, you try to find the right yerba or tea. You see dozens of brands from different countries, different cuts, different styles. You might feel overwhelmed. Honestly, if you start with the wrong yerba, there's a good chance you won't enjoy your first experience and you will never touch it again. So I'm going to break it down for you. If you're a complete beginner, the most important thing is to avoid overly aggressive bitterness. That's the biggest mistake you can make. And I come from a country that is not deeply rooted in yerba mate. So I started at some point in my life, that was a long, long time ago, and I by now have probably tasted over, I would say 80 different yerbas, maybe 90 different yerbas. And I can tell you in the beginning, it was the same for me. It was bitter because I didn't know what to buy. I asked people, they recommended something. I tried it. I liked it. I didn't like it. I had no idea about it. So that's why we're going to break it down by level. We're going to start with beginner ones. And if you're a complete beginner, the most important is, as I said, aggressive bitterness. Because you will probably not continue drinking it if you start with intense bitterness. And if you buy something like Canarias or smoky Paraguayan yerba, and it suddenly tastes like burnt grass or overly cooked steak, then you know this is not the right one for you as a beginner. For beginners, you want smoothness, you want balance, and you want accessibility. And one of the best beginner brands is Cruz de Malta. And Cruz de Malta is one of the oldest and most traditional Argentine yerbas dating back to the 1800s. It has a very classic Argentine profile. It's balanced, it's slightly earthy, slightly vegetal, but not overwhelming. So perfect for beginners. Bitterness is moderate. It's almost non-existing. The smoke, like the smoky flavor, is low. And if you make a mistake by preparing it, water too hot, too cold, whatever, it's very forgiving. It also has a very approachable texture. Some yerbas feel thick and intense in the mouth. Cruz de Malta stays relatively clean and easy to drink. Then, the beautiful yellow package of Playadito. Playadito has become famous internationally because it's incredibly smooth and approachable. It comes from the Liebig Cooperativa in Corrientes, Argentina, which is in the northern part. Corrientes and Misiones are the two main regions in Argentina, in the northern part, where yerba mate grows. It's a company with deep roots in the agriculture of Argentina and the mate production itself. And the flavor profile, it's mild, it's almost slightly sweet, slightly cereal-like and very low in bitterness. Towards your 10th or 15th infusion, you can feel that it gets bitter, but then it's lavado, which means it's washed out and you should replace it anyway. And honestly, for many people, Plashadito is the yerba that makes mate finally click. That's the go-to one. It's the kind of yerba you can drink an entire thermos without fatigue. Another great option is La Merced de Campo. La Merced had different ones, but we're going to look at the de Campo because that's a more premium option produced by the company that is called Las Marias. It's one of the largest and most respected mate producers in Argentina. And La Merced is interesting because it's focused heavily on terroir and regional differences. The de Campo version is smooth, refined, slightly herbal, and elegant. The other versions is Barbacoa is more smoked and is a little bit more intense in flavor. It's also a more refined flavor. So as a beginner, focus on La Merced de Campo because it's a fantastic introduction for someone who wants to experience a more sophisticated side of mate without jumping right into the heavy bitterness. And now once you moved into the intermediate territory, things start to change. Because at this point, you usually begin appreciating stronger flavors, more complexity, and you want a little bit more character. And this is where Rosamonte becomes important. Because Rosamonte is legendary. It was founded in Misiones in 1936. It's known for producing stronger, bolder yerba with more body and intensity compared to classic beginner yerbas. Rosamonte has more bitterness, more earthy depth, and a much longer finish. It also has more smoke and structure. So for many people, Rosamonte is the moment where mate stops being just pleasant and starts becoming addictive. Talking about addictive, Taragüí is a great intermediate brand. Taragüí is probably one of the most globally recognized Argentine brands and is produced by Las Marias. What makes Taragüí special is its consistency. It has a classic Argentine flavor. It's grassy, woody, slightly bitter, but very reliable from bag to bag. Quality is high-end, and it also introduces beginners to a more authentic traditional profile without becoming too extreme. And then you have a brand that is called Amanda. Amanda is smoother than Rosamonte, but more flavorful than Plashadito. It sits right in the middle. The company itself has an interesting history tied to Polish immigrants in Argentina who became major producers in Misiones. Taste-wise, Amanda offers balance with a little bit more depth and dryness than the typical beginner yerbas. And now once you become a real mate enthusiast, everything changes again. Because at this point, you stop looking for smoothness alone. You start looking for personality, for character. And then there is one brand that needs to be mentioned, Canarias. Canarias is interesting. It is a Uruguayan-style yerba, though it's actually produced in Brazil because, as you as now an expert in mate already know, Uruguay does not produce any Ilex paraguayensis leaves. Nope. Uruguay is the biggest consumer of yerba mate in the world, but not the biggest producer. It's quite the contrary. They don't produce anything because at this point, no leaves grow in Uruguay. Not yet. With the climate change, things are changing a little bit up there, but we'll see where that leads. And this stuff is intense. The consistency is different. It's very fine cut. It's almost powdery, extremely rich, very caffeinated, long-lasting, and deeply complex. For beginners, this might be a little bit overwhelming, but for aficionados, on the other hand, It is one of the most satisfying mate experiences in the world. The flavor is dense, nutty, grassy, creamy, and incredibly persistent over many pours. Another favorite among enthusiasts is, and I mentioned it before, La Merced, but not De Monte, Barbacoa. Because, as the name might give it away already, this is mate that is dried using traditional wood fire methods. The smoke profile is huge. You can taste it from the first sip. You get notes of wood, leather, earthiness, and deep roasted flavors. It almost feels closer to whiskey and peated tea than to standard mate. And finally, many advanced drinkers, and as much as I love Canarias and I love La Merced and all those intense yerbas with lots of character, I love drinking artisan yerbas and also Paraguayan yerbas. And these are often heavily smoked, extremely bold, and commonly consumed as tereré, which is the cold one. Sorry, my Paraguayan friends, I am not such a big tereré fan, but it is something that you should definitely try because it's different and you might like it. The intensity, however, can be shocking at first, but once your palate adapts, the complexity becomes fascinating. It's really the beauty of yerba mate. The taste evolves over time. The yerbas that feel strong in the beginning often becomes just something you crave later and does not feel that strong anymore. And last but not least, the creme de la creme. Initially, for most people, the focus is on bitterness and caffeine, but over time, many start craving and caring more about cultivation methods, smoke levels, aging, sustainability, and the purity of flavor. And this is where the creme de la creme comes in. And that's honestly the organic and the artisan yerbas. They are among the best experiences you can have with mate, whether you're a beginner or a full-on aficionado. One of the best examples is Kraus Organic, Organica, and Pionero. I would say Pionero is a little bit on the stronger side, but Organic and Organica are two perfect beginner yerbas. They almost, let's call it legendary in the organic mate world. It's a family-run Argentine company from Misiones that became famous for developing a smoke-free drying process using indirect hot air instead of traditional wood smoke. And it's kosher certified. And the family is from Austria. Well, they emigrated there a long time ago, but it's an Austrian family. The family Kraus. And that traditional wood smoke that was replaced by Kraus with hot air changes the flavor completely. Because traditional yerba often has smoky, roasted, earthy notes because the leaves come in contact with smoke during the drying process. Kraus removes that entirely, creating something much cleaner and fresher. The flavor profile is smooth, it's more floral, it's lightly vegetal, and it's almost like regular tea. There's very little bitterness, which makes it incredibly perfect for beginners. But at the same time, experienced drinkers appreciate it because you just can taste the actual leaf much more clearly without the dominating smokiness. So Kraus can be described as clean energy. The stimulation feels very smooth and the overall drinking experience feels lighter and more refined. And then there's another one I would like to get your focus on, Porongo Organic. Porongo is a newer premium style organic brand that focuses heavily on terroir and the quality sourcing. The taste sits somewhere between traditional Argentine smoothness and artisan complexity. You get grassy freshness, moderate bitterness, slight sweetness, and a very polished mouthfeel. And what makes Porongo interesting is that it feels intentionally modern. The branding, packaging, and overall identity are clearly designed to elevate yerba mate into a premium lifestyle product rather than just an everyday commodity. Yes, so now we know which yerba is great for beginners, for half experts, and for aficionados. But don't get me wrong, if you start with yerba mate, if you try a Kraus or Ganica, for example, or a Plachadito, and you don't like it, just step it up. Go to a Uruguayan one. Try a Canarias. Why not? If you like it, you like it. Beginner or not, right? Some people drink coffee for the first time and they just don't like watered down coffee such as an Americano. They just enjoy a double espresso because that's what they like. And with mate, it's the same thing. You have to just try different ones. Don't stop after the first. Get yourself, as a beginner, that's my advice to you. As a beginner, get yourself at least 5 different packs of yerba. Get organic ones, get shade-grown ones, get lighter ones, get a stronger one, get a barbacoa, and just try it. Try it on different times of the day. Try it in different settings, maybe even in different calibers, and see which one you like best. You can also go with the CBSA, which is perfect for the cold ones. Tereré, they are flavored. They have all kinds of flavors from lemon to grapefruit to apple, pear, and so on. If you like that, you like that. Then this is what you should drink then, right? So no matter what you like, whether you're a beginner or an aficionado or an expert or someone who has never tried yerba, who's been drinking yerba for decades, get what you want, drink what you want. Don't let other people tell you this is not good yerba. If you enjoy it, that's the right thing for you. And that reminds me of somosmateina.com, your online store. And this is the store that powers and supports this show because it's our store. Yes, it's our store. We ship worldwide. We have almost 100 different kinds of yerbas. We have mate gourds, glass, calabash, wood, stainless steel, whatever you are looking for, bombillas, thermoses, stickers for your gourd. We have brushes to clean your bombilla, which will be the next topic, by the way, because that's a big one. We have bombillas as well, of course. We have stainless steel bombillas. We have silver bombillas, high-end, all handmade in Argentina. So go stop by somosmateina.com. Go and follow us on Instagram under somosmateina. You will always find 10-15% off coupons on Instagram. If you start following us, you will get a message with a 10% off coupon. If you go on our website, you can sign up for our newsletter. Don't worry, we hardly send out any newsletters. You get just the important information that you need. No spamming, promise. But if you want to have a 10% discount code, you can also sign up there and get yourself the yerba you want. And maybe a cleaning brush, because you need to properly clean your bombilla. That is something that is often overlooked, but is very, very vital. Because no matter how good your yerba is, if your bombilla is dirty, if it's clogged, it just ruins your mate experience. And over time, bombillas collect residue from leaves, oils, minerals, hot water, tiny particles that get trapped inside the filter. That's normal. That's why you need to clean it properly. And if you don't do that, 2 things happen normally. First, the flavor changes. Old residue creates stale metallic or bitter off notes in your mate. And second, airflow becomes restricted. That means your bombilla clogs constantly and drinking mate becomes frustrating, and we don't want that. So proper cleaning is essential. And the method I personally use, and I was advised to use when I started drinking, and honestly, this is for me the only method that really works, is baking soda and boiling water. And here's how it works. First, take a pot, fill it up with hot water, boil it. It needs to boil. Add a spoonful of baking soda directly into the water. After that, place the bombilla into the pot and let it boil for about 10-15 minutes. What happens is the baking soda helps break down soils, residue, and build up inside the metal and the filter on the bottom. And after boiling, remove the bombilla. Be careful, it's hot. And rinse it thoroughly. The next step is also important, because you cleaned it now, yeah? But residue might still get stuck, because when you dry it, that's why you should use a cleaning brush, not just on the outside, but on the inside. There's tiny little brushes that if you don't have one, go on somosmartina.com, you can get one. If not, go to any store. Small brush will do it. Stick it in the bombilla and really brush it. Rinse it out, brush it until no residue comes out anymore. And you'll be surprised how much residue, even after boiling it, can still come out of your bombilla. And one of the most important things is also the frequency. How often should you do it? If you drink yerba mate every day, I would highly advise you to probably deep clean it, meaning boiling water, baking soda, bombilla in there once every 1 to 2 weeks. Honestly, trust me, you can taste the difference immediately after you cleaned your bombilla. The draw becomes smoother, the flavor becomes cleaner, and the entire experience just improves. There's also something symbolic about it. Mate is a ritual, right? And taking care of your tools should become part of respecting that ritual. And a well-used bombilla tells a story. But a clean bombilla makes the story taste much better. And I think that's a perfect place to end today's episode. Because whether you're choosing your very first yerba or learning how to maintain your setup properly, mate is really about developing a relationship with the ritual and the culture. You don't need to become an expert. Your palate evolves. Your preference evolves. And the more time you spend with mate, the more you begin to understand why so many people around the world became attached to it. So if you've never tried yerba mate before, this is the right moment to start. And if you already drink mate, maybe it's time to explore a new brand. Clean that bombilla and appreciate the ritual a little bit more deeply. Try new yerbas. There's so many out there that are delicious. And get yourself a good yerba mate, because that is exactly what I'm going to do now. And today I'm drinking 900 días, 900 days Sarai yerba mate. And it reminds me also, follow us, leave a comment. Pick a topic if you want me to talk about something. You want to be on the show with me. Send me a DM on Instagram or go on our website somosmartina.com and drop me a message in the chat function. I'll respond almost immediately, unless I'm asleep. But I almost respond immediately. And if you need any yerba, if you have any questions, send me a message on Instagram. Send me a message via our website, somosmartina.com. We're on Instagram, somosmartina. We're also on YouTube. You can also listen to this podcast on YouTube. Comment, leave a message, leave a comment. And with that, my dear friends, thanks for being part of the Somos Mateina Instagram community, for the somosmateina.com community, for the Somos Mateina community, because without you, this community is nothing. Without you drinking yerba mate, we could not do this. And with that, my friends, thank you very much for having spent the last half an hour with me. I hope I did not bore you. I think it was very interesting today. Until 2 weeks, my friends. We'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm your host, Tomas, or you can call me Thomas. And don't forget, el café es para mortales, el mate para leyendas.